Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend. Coming up, going to take questions, comments, and hot takes from the faithful, all of our real ones right here on the show. And let me ask you this, since you're going to be asking me questions, do you want to be a real one? If that is the case, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content that we put up here on the Niners Report, the largest independently run Niners channel right here on YouTube, as we are on the pursuit of 135,000 subscribers. Let's begin with the OG Black Mask $5 super chat. Big props to Brandon Ayuk for showing up. Last year, Nick Bosa sat out, and it took him way too long to get going. You know, that's something that I've talked about on this show and with Larry Krueger. When you look at Nick Bosa's numbers last year, they were actually really good in the grand scheme of things, and he had a highly productive season. Now, his sack numbers were down, and I think a reason why his sack numbers were down, the fact that he signed the Wednesday before the season opener. So he was just a tick off from his regular playing shape. And because of that, he was just missing out on sacks because he wasn't acclimated with the game of football. Physically, he might look like Adonis, and he does, but it's a different thing to be in football shape. So when you look at his Pro Football Focus numbers last year, they were truly elite. Overall grade of 92.7, run defense grade of 81.9, a pass rush grade of 92.6. Doesn't really get much better than that. He had 60 hurries, 21 hits, and 95 total pressures. That is a great season. Now, it wasn't the Defensive Player of the Year season that he put up the year prior when he had an overall grade of 90.9, run defense grade of 81.1, and a pass rush grade of 90.9. But his pressure numbers, 90. Hits, 30. Hurries, 41. The difference, though, 18.5 sacks to 10.5 sacks. And I truly believe that a big part of that was him not partaking in any of the preseason games or training camp practices, and he was a smidge off. For Brandon Ayuk, we'll see if he's a hold in or a hold out. That could also change. He could practice, and then he could not practice at some point. I would not rule out anything. He could decide that he's just not going to show up one day if things aren't going well. Hopefully he doesn't get to that point, because then he looks like a negative Nancy. But this is a Niners offense that was the number one overall unit in the NFL last year. They return all 11 starters for a team that went to the Super Bowl. That is extremely rare. And Ayuk was a big part of that. So him being at practice, at training camp, being with this team, people love him as a guy, his personality, cultural fit, but he can continue this on-field relationship with Brock Purdy, which has been an elite quarterback, wide receiver, 1-2 punch the last year and a half since Purdy came in as the starter for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. Michael Hyde, he is a Seahawks fan, but asks a very good question. With Dre Greenlaw being a free agent next offseason, how much is he projected to make? How much would you pay him if you were the general manager? Go Hawks. It's unfortunate for Dre Greenlaw. Such a fun player to watch. An old school linebacker who's such a hard hitter. The enforcer of this Niners defense. I'd make the argument he is one of the heartbeats, if not the heartbeat, of this Niners defense. And we saw how drastically the Niners defense changed and how different it looked once Greenlaw went out with that freak injury where after a punt, he's going to jog on the field and he pops his Achilles. Sucked. Fred Warner, heartbroken by that. He was in tears on the sideline. With Greenlaw in the game, the Niners defense was humming. The Chiefs could not do anything. Shoot, the Chiefs offense didn't do anything until the muff punt. But if Greenlaw plays that entire game, Fred Warner made this point, he could have been the MVP of the game. And if he was, and if he finished that game out and the Niners won, I think he would have gotten a pretty big contract extension this offseason. Now he tears his Achilles. It's a catastrophic injury. We're not sure when he's going to be able to come back. And because of those questions around his recovery, the injury, what he's going to look like, nobody knows how much he can make for his next contract. Tony DeWeese, what happens if Brandon Ayuk does a hold in? So pretty simple. Brandon Ayuk could hold in. He's not going to hold out. Reporting the Niners training camp on Tuesday. Deebo Samuel, 2 off seasons ago, in training camp, he signed the final day of July And to start training camp, he was a hold in, which meant he would do some workouts on the side field, some occasional sprints, catch some footballs here and there, but he didn't partake in practices. He didn't do drills. He didn't do 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. So Ayuk, if he's a hold in, he just kind of is on the side field doing light work, conditioning, catching some footballs. Maybe he goes on the jugs machine, but he's going to try to avoid any type of injury that could happen by doing team drills and drills that require a lot more physical output. Today's 49ers Report mailbag is sponsored by Game Time. If you're looking for the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time is the app for you. What's incredible about this app, prices drop as the event gets closer, and you're guaranteed to get in the door with the lowest price guaranteed. Game Time, an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, National Football League, the NBA, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to kickoff, first pitch, or tip-off, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. And there are a lot of features that I really like with this. Last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off. Flash deals, zone deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, as you can see right here. And when you use the code CHATSPORTS, you get $20 off your purchase. That is your first purchase only. Terms apply. We'll put all of this information down for you in the comment section and in the description of this video. Game Time, promo code CHATSPORTS. Matthew Short, he's a real one. Do we still need to get a safety? Yeah, so the safety spot is interesting because we're not sure what the status is of Talanoa Hufanga. He is on PUP to start training camp. And so he's at least not ready to partake in practices yet. That could change in a few days. That could change in a few weeks. But he tore his ACL in November. So it is not a guarantee that Talanoa Hufanga, an All-Pro 2 years ago, is going to be able to start week 1. And if he can't, who are the starters going to be week 1 against the Jets? Against Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, and a much improved Jets offensive line. You're looking at Jair Brown for sure, but who is the other safety going to be? George Odom, a career special teamer, Malik Mustafa, a rookie. What I would do if I'm the Niners, I'd explore Justin Simmons, 4-time All-Pro, excellent player, leads the NFL in interceptions since coming into the league in 2016. He has played under Vic Fangio. He's been a team captain with Denver. He fits the Niners culture. It's just an excellent player. You also have a player like Quandre Diggs. Eddie Jackson, he signed in free agency a couple of days ago, so he's no longer out there. You have Micah Hyde. So I think that the Niners might need a little bit of an insurance policy. I don't think Deshaun Gibson makes sense because he's serving that 6-game suspension. M. Patel must have missed it. Can you name the 8 offensive linemen that make the team? So the 8 offensive linemen, I think it's going to be 9. So the starters, you have 5 of them, of course. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, John Feliciano, and unfortunately Colton McKivitz. As the backups there, you got to go Dominic Pooney. He was your 3rd-round pick, right? Jalen Moore is like your backup swing tackle. And then you're going to have to make some tough decisions. Do you go Chris Hubbard at tackle? Do you go Drake Nugent at center? Do you go Jarrett Kingston, Ben Barch, Spencer Burford? So I think they go 9 to give themselves some more wiggle room. Plus, that's normally what they do. But it's going to be a good competition. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of talent at some of those spots. Mr. Black Ice, how are Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw injuries doing? So they are both starting training camp on the physically unable to perform list. Now, if you start the regular season on PUP, you have to miss at least the first 4 games of the season. That's going to be the case with Greenlaw. We'll see if it's the case with Talanoa Hufanga. Other players to start on PUP. Drake Jackson, of note, going to start off on PUP. Ricky Pearsall, non-football injury list, although the Niners hope to get him back Monday after missing the first 4 practices. Black Mask, $5 super chat. Who do you have at quarterback 2? I'm hearing Dobbs and Allen not looking so hot. I would not rule out a trade for a backup quarterback for San Francisco. Josh Dobbs, Brandon Allen, not really high on either player. Dobbs has had good moments as a backup quarterback in this league, but struggled in the spring. I think that sometimes when he's on that first read and it's not there, he's always looking to take off. I think it's pretty telling that other teams are able to get a grasp of how he plays, what he does well, what he doesn't, because he might play well for a couple of quarters, a game or two, and then after that, defenses start to catch on and latch on to what he's doing. Brandon Allen, I mean, he just has such a weak arm. I know that he was the backup there for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's respected by Shanahan, but I just don't see it at all. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. 49ers Report, Chat Sports, videos coming your way every single day, and now the training camp is here. Preseason watch parties will return. Watch parties for the regular season, your go-to spot for Niners coverage right here on YouTube.